Well, hey everyone, it's me. It's Michael Osinski.
And it's also Tyler Esselman.
And you are listening to, or watching, This One Goes to 11.
This One Goes to 11 is our podcast where typically we invite someone on each week to make their case for what they believe is a perfect album.
So perfect that 10 out of 10 just isn't good enough. But tonight, we're not doing things typical, right?
Tonight, we're not doing typical. We're never typical. We're never your typical music podcast.
We are atypical.
Exactly, we are atypical. That's for sure. And tonight we're doing our yearly little ditty, a little roundup of our year in music. We shy away from the best of kind of mode of thinking, just because that. I feel like the reason why I shy away from it is because it implies some kind of completeness of listening over the course of the year, and I do not profess to listen to enough music over the course of the year to know what the best album of the year is, right? I can tell you my favorites.
Yeah. I mean, and also, too, we spend the whole year searching for perfection. Yeah. So this is our chance to take an episode off from having to, strive for perfection.
Exactly. So what we're going to do tonight is Michael and I have each kind of come up with 3 musical things that we want to talk about. And we'll kind of touch on some other stuff too, just sort of admin-y type, because this also doubles as a little bit of a retrospective of the last year. We like to be reflective about those things, and maybe some of you are interested in that.
Well, I mean, one thing we should I think there are 2 things we should cover before we even talk about any of our albums. One being how do you like this whole video thing we've been doing, Tyler? I mean, season 8 was still audio, but is that right? Was season 8 still audio?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I've lost track of numbers.
I know. Well, we ended season 8 with the 100th episode, basically.
That's right. And we did do a video episode for our 100th, co-hosted by the inimitable Ashlyn Lozano,
who is, at the time of recording, getting married next week to other friend of the pod, Eric Matthew Richardson.
Craziness.
I'm not saying we're taking credit for that, but we had to have been a factor.
We're taking credit for it.
Yeah,
most definitely. Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's
good.
us.
Yeah. So to get back to your question, video feels great, and I think we are. As you well know, we met in theater school, and we both have a keen interest in film and video type things. So I feel like but we're also a little bit of perfectionists, I think, you and I. So we maybe shy away from claiming to even aspire to make film in this kind of serious way. But I feel like touching video this past season has started to get me into the mind of just what does it mean as a visual medium for us to do this? What are the possibilities of it moving forward, which is a fun little thing to think about, right?
I mean, I'm grateful for we both have sort of quickly had to learn some video editing. I will say recording episodes that are video are a little more exhausting because I feel like I have to be just paying attention so much more. I don't know, how am I supposed to keep looking at the camera the entire time, or what if I just want to look down?
Right.
I find that a little bit exhausting because even actors who are being filmed don't have to have this level of attention on screen at all times. So there's that. I will say also that the primary editing and recording software that we have been using, Riverside, when I've listened to our episodes, I think we did better editing when we were using Audacity or whatever you were using on your end when it was just audio. And I think
Audacity,
we haven't figured some things out yet. There's some stuff, and also just now my face is on YouTube a lot, and it's.
This is the thing about being perceived, right? This is the...
What, it sucks?
Well, it feels different. It feels different than your voice being perceived. Kind of knowing that that's the level at which you're putting yourself out there in a kind of real-time way. This is what makes social media, I feel like, so hard, is because that depends on you being, I think, the focus a lot of times. If you're thinking about social media in a particular kind of way, it's all dependent on you and your face and what you're bringing to it. That I think that the algorithms look for that the most. They look for people's faces, and they look for those things that they can kind of latch onto in your personality. So I don't know, this is a long way of saying that I dig it, and that I think we are still figuring out what our way of doing it is. Maybe maybe there's some angle about video podcasting that we haven't really discovered yet, because it's been pretty by the book so far.
Yeah, we haven't made many changes to the way we did things, except we're just in front of a camera now. So maybe there is, the medium is different. But you mentioned the algorithm though, which feels like a good segue to the other thing we should address, which is, dear listeners and viewers, you may have noticed that as the season progressed, depending on who edited the episode, either suddenly songs were missing, or occasionally you would hear spacey sounds pop in during the episode at the place where you would normally hear a clip from a song. And that's because Spotify, who we spoke so glowingly about when we started this podcast, is maybe not our best friend in the world right now, in the sense that they're using their AI bots to scrape even the smallest of audio clips that we've included in our episodes, even though we have paid for the tracks. Like, we purchased the tracks. I'm sure we could get into a whole fair use thing, and Matthew Messina, if you are listening to or watching this episode, we're coming for you to be a guest so that you can explain fair use to us, because you're a lawyer now and everything.
Yeah, God love him.
So that's why you may have noticed songs are missing, and I've missed songs ever since we were able to include full songs way back when our podcast started, and Spotify let us do that.
Yeah, it's a big miss. Like, it's a something that we're missing from the format. And I also think that there is, we acknowledge that there is a difference between fully licensing a song versus just purchasing it, like purchasing the file. Like, we've done some reading. Like, we know that there is a difference there, and that we want to compensate artists fairly. Like, that is at our core as well. So this is
compensating artists is an interesting thing to talk about regarding Spotify, which basically pays artists fractions of a penny every time one of their songs plays.
Not to mention that. So like, this is something we're definitely like on, as people are trying to make a thing and include music in it. We are kind of also in a nebulous place of like, well, how do we do that? How do you do that ethically? So we'll, I guess, stay tuned on that. We miss the music. We miss the music as well. And as you may know, if you're listening to this on YouTube, we're making YouTube for now our recommended way of consuming the pod, because you get the video element in a convenient way. And we also can organize these things into playlists so that the person's standout track is there in the middle of the episode, like it has been for a long time.
I'm going to work on, and I'm saying this on the recording, so I commit to doing this. I'm going to use my instructional design know-how to create a video that people can watch that will explain them how to find the playlists on our YouTube channel. So they're playing our episodes on the playlists, not just the clips. So
a little guided demo, perhaps?
I've said it out loud, so now it has to happen. So there's that.
We're already reaping the benefits of this new upskilling that you've been doing.
Exactly.
What else admin did we have to talk about? Well,
one more thing. You mentioned complicated ethics. Radiohead's touring again.
Wincing emoji? Is that the emoji for you? Is it a wincing emoji for you thinking about Radiohead right now?
I don't know. I'm going to confess something. I feel like over the past year or so, like, I don't know what my relationship is with the band anymore. Yeah. Like, I mean, I still like their music. I haven't. This wasn't a Radiohead year. Like, there are years where I like go back into the catalog and like,
or even a Smile year.
Yeah, not really. I mean, not like, I'll be curious to see once my my Spotify Wrapped pops up. But like I hate that we say them so often now. But anyways,
it's a fun thing.
Like, I don't know. Like, I've been reading up on their tour, which apparently is going well, and they're like, playing a wide range of songs, including Subterranean Homesick Alien, which song. I have never heard them play live. I think that's true, but which is like, one of my probably my favorite Radiohead song. But I've also been reading about how they're not, like, when they do interviews, it sounds like Ed O'Brien wasn't talking to them for a while, and they're like not staying in the same place together. They have like separate accommodations. I feel like the chances of there being another Radiohead album are like just zero at this point. And so I'm kind of like, I don't know, do I want to keep celebrating them as a current artist, or do I want to sort of put them in the past now and treat them as like a relic?
Yeah. And I just to put it out there, I feel like we don't know how much of this internal strife, or like what we are being told is internal strife,
right.
with the band, could have to do with like their well documented public stances on Gaza, and Tom's sort of the blowback from a lot of Tom's statements about Gaza, and I've sort of understood that probably my opinions on the conflict in Israel and Gaza have been, I feel like I've known for a while that my opinions on them are probably different than Tom's. And so, I think this is something that we have to contend with it, right? You have to contend with it if you're going to be aware of these things. And this is kind of the parasocial relationship that we have with bands nowadays, is we sort of know about what their stances are on geopolitical issues. So I think I'm kind of with you that I think I'm not going to hang my hat too much on them in more the way that I feel like I'm trying to evolve in terms of my relationships with artists that I love in general, where I'm like, that's a human being. And I think maybe I've said this on the podcast before, but like deifying any artist that you care about their work is a dangerous thing. And there was a really smart thing that I heard, and I've probably quoted it on here before, but I went to an event. If you live in Chicago, you might know the artist Ricardo Gamboa, and you might know the Hoodwazi, which is like a podcast that Ricardo and their cohort do. And it's about local political matters in Chicago and kind of like activist-driven thought in Chicago. And it's a really wonderful organization. And I have had a great time being aware of them and Ricky in general. Ricky's great. I feel very lucky to know Ricky. But they said a thing one time about, and this was one of the guests on the Hoodwazi was talking about, deify your family, deify like the people that you love in your community, like deify those people before you deify the artists that have this distance from you that is, like structurally an obstacle. And I'm trying to move in that space now. It's not to say that I can't enjoy the kind of personal image that these people have as they make art, but I just think it's a reminder to be aware. It's a reminder to sort of be aware of what the dangers of that can be. I don't know. Thank you. I think that's kind of where it's an ever evolving thing.
Yeah.
So we kind of have a few things that we just wanted to call out musically for the year. I'll start if you're ready to dive into it, Michael.
Yeah. What's your first thing?
Yeah. So my first thing is probably, I'm not going to say that it's my favorite album of the year for a couple of reasons. One is that it didn't technically come out in 2025, so it's not technically an album of this year. But even our friend Evan Saudi included it on his best albums of 2025 list for Pop Matters. I'm going to have to call out Heavy Metal by Cameron Winter, who some of you might know more specifically from the band that is of the moment, that is the kind of, if you're online at all, then you know about this band, and their name is Geese. So I feel like maybe I found out about Heavy Metal by Cameron Winter, his solo album, through Stereo Gum, which is probably the music publication that I get the most music recommendations from at this point. Their social media presence is kind of it's where I discovered Liquid Mike. It's where I discovered Geese early on, and it's where I discovered an artist named Alice Phoebe Liu. I think that was where I discovered her. So like these are like bands that I don't know how I would have discovered them if it wouldn't have been for social media, is kind of one interesting phenomenon that I think I'm grappling with. But I discovered Heavy Metal early this year by Cameron Winter, and it's such a banger. Like, it is such a good album. I think I recommended it to you pretty early on in the year. I think I put it in our Slack recommendation channel. Didn't I?
I think maybe, yeah, but I think I might have been busy doing something else because I wasn't able to give it time and the energy until this year. So
yeah, totally. So I think I discovered it early this year, and so we'll count it in the 2025 list for me. And I just think there's something really special about Cameron Winter. And there's something really special about Geese, the band that he has been playing music with for several years now. But the crazy thing to me is that they are children. They're like early 20s. They're like 22 years old.
Yeah.
So like I'm a little, it's this funny experience of seeing, now that I'm in my 30s, solidly in my 30s, and I feel like I'm starting to recognize that those bands of that cohort, that early 20s cohort, they're of a different era than me. And they are kind of approaching their whole approach, seemingly, based on what I can see online and what you hear about in writing, is just kind of done with an attitude that feels very different to the bands that were coming up when we were that age, or when I was that age. And, you know, I don't think it's an issue. You know, like I really appreciate the album, and I think his voice is incredible. I think the songwriting it kind of belies his age. It seems like, to me, the voice reminds me of Tom Waits in many ways. It's this kind of sonorous baritone that is pretty unmistakable and memeable. Honestly, like you can make fun of his voice pretty easily. But heavy metal is, in the way that Geese is kind of like a very driven guitar focused kind of band, like a rock band. His solo album feels like it has a lot of shades that you don't get just from the Geese albums. It feels like it instrumentally and tonally brings in a lot of layers of sound that I didn't get from Geese. Is that kind of been your experience in comparing his solo album to what you've heard of Geese?
A little bit. I mean, I think that I will say that I definitely prefer Geese to the solo project. And I will echo the thing you said about his voice. Like, although to me he sounds a little bit like Tom York meets Julian Casablancas.
Yeah.
I mean, Geese remind me very much of like a 2025 the Strokes,
which is that's the going thought, I think. Is this the Gen Z Strokes? This isn't going to. I'm not saying anything novel here. Like you can find that pretty much anywhere if you look up the band Geese.
But the thing that's different, though, is like I feel like the Strokes were referencing something from the past. Like I feel like the Strokes were like 2000s version of Television.
Whereas, that's a great shout. Yeah,
Geese, to me, I mean, I will say, I'm not going to talk about it, but my favorite album that came out in 2025 was Geese's new album, Getting Killed.
It's great.
And that album sounds to me like I can't tell what it's referencing.
Yeah.
It just goes so all over the place. So there's clearly something going on in Cameron Winter's brain that is like unlike what other people are making. And maybe people who know a lot more indie music will say like, no, actually Geese sounds like this and Cameron Winter's voice sounds like that, and fine, whatever. But I just think it's rare for me to find a band so young, because yes, you're right, they are babies, that still speaks to me or sounds interesting. I mean, maybe it's also the fact that like his lyrics are just bonkers.
They really are.
Like they are. I mean, some people might say abstract. I think, and maybe they are, or maybe it's just like bonkers shit that comes out of his head. So,
well, I think that is the quality that I get from his solo albums that I don't get as acutely on the Geese albums. Is this sort of stream of consciousness, kind of like really declarative kind of songwriting that I think. You can say that there are moments that are stream of consciousness. It does feel very precise. It feels very mature for somebody that is that young. And, like I've never written an album like this, but like it's such a reminder of how kind of miraculous it is that you can come up with something this cohesive. And a lot of it is just this kind of alchemy of circumstance and experience and, inspiration striking at the right time. I think there's also something about him feeling, and the rest of the band feeling, very grounded. There's a groundedness to him as a frontman, and there's a groundedness to all the other band members who I haven't even begun to know them. I haven't even begun to know who they are. But you see these little videos and you think, man, like kids, were kids that grounded when we were that age? I don't know if we were like that in our early 20s. And it's so impressive.
I mean, Getting Killed is Geese's third album, so Cameron Winter has been responsible for putting 4 albums out already, and he's 23, I think, maybe.
Crazy. Yeah. So, and they very well could be Nepo babies. I don't know. Like this is, I haven't dove that deep into it. Maybe this is a little touching back on the Radiohead thing of like, I'm trying to have the minimum parasocial relationship with this band that I can possibly have while still like loving their
Just focus on the music. Yeah.
Exactly. And if astute listeners will remember that our friend Josh Tyson did call out that their debut album was his favorite. He did a little bit of a I knew them when kind of thing when we were talking. I don't know if that was on pod or
Josh. That's so Josh being like, I know I'm in my 40s and whatever, but like, I'm still cool like all the cool kids.
We love you, Josh. That was you have impeccable taste, Josh Tyson. No bones about that. But the early albums are really good. 3D Country's really good. And they're worth going back and looking at those albums in the light of their kind of triumph on Getting Killed. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to see what Cameron Winter becomes. I think there's great potential for him as a rock personage. Is he going to stay in is he going to stay like a media darling, or is he going to step in it? I don't wish that upon anyone. But it's the price of being a rock star is that you have to make a strong move into rock stardom. So it feels like the precipice, the cusp of something. And I haven't felt that way about a band in a long time. Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about albums, and you're talking about like these really young artists, I'm gonna pivot to the opposite end of the age spectrum a little bit here. Although first, I do want to call out, like, I didn't listen to a lot of albums this year, frankly. But if I had to give some honorable mentions, like I said, Geese's Getting Killed is, I think, my favorite album of 2025.
So good.
I listened to Father John Misty's Mahashmashana a lot, even though that technically came out in December of 24, but per the industry, that means it came out in 2025. So I'm counting it.
We'll call it Evan Saudi rules.
Exactly. The Bon Iver album, Sable Fable.
Solid.
I enjoyed quite a bit.
Yeah.
This album, Cutthroat, by a band called Shame, which also Josh Tyson recommended. So fine, Josh, you got to like double mention this episode.
Josh
whatever.
Tyson recommendation.
Also, just a quick little thing, and maybe we'll dig into this later. A huge boo to the new Tame Impala album, which I thought
No. I disagree.
Okay, we'll talk about that later because it's my turn to talk now. So, this is all to say that none of those albums are the ones I want to talk about because I'm going to focus on the album that I feel like best represented 2025 to me. And that is an album by a UK band called Doves called Constellations for the Lonely. Which we mentioned briefly in a couple episodes this season, actually, but especially when we talked to Rich about the Elbow album. Doves is a band that when I was studying in London, there were all these posters everywhere, like on the tube and on buses and on, bus shelters and whatnot for, it said Doves, Lost Souls. And, I was like a musical sponge while I was in London, so I was sopping up everything that I experienced there. So I was like, okay, well, I clearly have to get this album and find out what the big deal is. And they are, Radiohead adjacent. They are, and in the beginning of their career, very kind of shoegazy, for whatever that word means for all y'all. And Lost Souls is, an excellent debut album. It's weird and spooky and spacey, but also like musically and sonically interesting. And I love Lost Souls. I love The Last Broadcast, which was their second album. I kind of lost touch with them a little bit over time, but then once again, thanks to Evan Saudi's list of albums, because I had no idea they had even released an album this year.
Yeah.
And this album, it is not their best album, but it felt like 2025 to me, and it felt like the perfect album for them to make at this point in their career. Like they've encountered Jimmy Goodwin, who's their main lead singer, has gone through some health, I believe both physical and mental health scares. I think he has some addiction issues, and so he wasn't able to tour with the album, but his voice is really a defining element of the Dove sound. And on this album, it sounds different. Like he definitely sounds a little bit older, and I feel like this album is very much sort of a meditation on aging. And them looking back at their career and their lives, because they're arguably a late career at this point as a band, and And it's just like, and I maybe because this year was just so full of transition for me, and because I'm technically now in my late mid 40s, to use the specific terminology. And I know I'm not that old, but I can't help but like these little things that happen throughout the year, like moving and taking on a new career and still going back to some of my old jobs and feeling different because I'm older, and just, I don't know, this album just spoke to me in a way because it's not a sad album. It feels like, it feels melancholy, like we talked about on the Elbow album, but it feels like an optimistic melancholy because it's not hopeless. It sounds like there is just this voice sort of crying from underneath, I don't know, a lot, like it's covered in a lot of stuff or something, and the music is just trying to cut through that and be like, hey, I'm still here, I still have a light, and I still want, to shine it. I guess that sounds like kind of a bad metaphor to use, but
this is the light of mine, baby.
I'm going with it.
That idea never goes out of style.
And it's still, this album also still sonically interesting to me. I mean, like the first track, Renegade, is, I think, like a sort of perfect album opener. Really captures that sort of like optimistic melancholy sound. There's a harmonica pops in one song. It's called Last Year's Man is the name of the song. Like suddenly a harmonica pops in. There is a very clear riff on a well-known Radiohead tune, the Weird Fishes. They're clearly borrowing from Weird Fishes on the song Butterfly House, but
a little bit.
I still like it. Like I still like it, and I will not apologize for liking a band that I've liked since 2000. Like there's something. It gives me hope in a weird way.
I'm surprised they haven't come up before with you and me in our music chat. Especially have it as much as we talked about your time in London. Like I really feel like this wasn't a band that was. It makes sense to me why they maybe took you a little bit by surprise with this, because since they weren't top of mind for you, and they also weren't in that top 3 music moments from your time in London, but they were maybe kind of like secondary tier. It makes sense why they're occupying this space for you, to me.
Yeah, I was too obsessed with Muse and Stereophonics when I was studying in London, so
with good cause, yeah.
And this is like, I mean, this was a tricky sell to friends. Like, when I would make mixes, I would put a Dove song on, because like it's not, it's not poppy, it's not rock, it's something else. I mean, they got a little more poppy as time went on, and I would say some of the songs on this album do still sound kind of poppy.
So did Elbow.
Yeah, although they chose weird tracks to be the singles on this album, but again, no one asked me. So. And
I'm like, do the studios choose the singles? Isn't that how it works? Is that basically that's how that goes, or is that like a strategy thing? Who knows who had control over that? And that might have been a bargaining chip with the studio or something like that.
I think it depends on whatever your contract is, but
sure. So I have a follow-up question here. So what was it sonically that this felt like 2025 to you, or was it lyrically, or was it a little bit of both?
Yes, to both. Yeah.
Okay.
It just felt, I mean, yeah, and I can't even, like, if I pick, I'm not someone to really pick through lyrics, but I can't even, the only way I can describe it, it sounded like a meditation on aging to me, which is something that I've been thinking a lot about. And so it just sort of fit naturally.
Yeah,
with
that makes sense.
Because often I think good albums come out in a year that I just can't get behind. Like if Brat had come out a different year, like if Brat had come out this year, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much as I did because of the year that it did come out. Because I think
that had something to do with where you were and kind of like your stability, or your
my stability, my emotional availability, like the people that I'm socializing with, how good I feel about myself in any given year. Yeah. And to be frank, this is not a year where I felt super good about myself, and so like maybe Doves is an album that just sort of captured that. Whereas the year of Brat, I was kind of like, I'm amazing. Like it was just and so I embraced that.
Yeah, and this is an interesting thing, because it sounds like it was a salve for you. It sounds like this was a kind of thing of steering into some emotional state. This album allowed you to do that. But, do you say that Brat is a salve for something? What was Brat a salve for? last year.
No, Brett wasn't a salve. I think it was augmenting something.
Yeah, it was almost like a drug. You know, it was like almost like yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, this is not like I'm listening to Downward Spiral in my headphones while I sit in my room and cry. We're not that sort of thing.
No, we're just listening to Downward Spiral at the gym.
Yes. Oh my, that is not a bad gym album.
It's a great gym album.
You got to hit the right tracks though. Like if you got to stick to like the front half. Because if you get to the back half, you're just kind of like, oh, why am I lifting these weights? Nothing means anything. Whereas the front half, like I mean, March of the Pigs. Have you seen the video for March of the Pigs?
Yes.
I mean, if I didn't love Trent Reznor already, like
Nine Inch Nails is one of the bands that you have fostered a love in me for that is like top of the list. I'm really smitten with that band a lot. So.
I really want to see them live.
I might do it in February.
So jealous.
Okay, should we go on to the next one?
Yeah, what's your second thing?
Okay.
Second thing you want to talk about?
I'll do a little sidebar and I'll say that I'm really disagreeing with the Tame Impala take, and I don't know if you want to actually save that till later, or this is what didn't you like about the Tame Impala album in a few words?
It is an album of edging. It is nothing but edging with no satisfaction.
Okay, I see that.
He's just trying and trying to like. Make some sort of like dance hit or like or he's trying for something and he just never reaches it, and that's a long album. That's a long time to edge someone. All right.
I was wondering if it was a lack of melody for you. If it was like
to be honest, like I kind of dig. There are moments of it I dig, and I dig the first song, and I like the sort of like we hear the piano before it kicks in, and I like that the first song doesn't quite go anywhere. And I kind of like the song Dracula, but then like after a few songs where you're like, okay, where is this gonna go? All right, like, and it just felt I felt so unsatisfied.
Okay, so related question: how much dance music did you listen to this year?
How much dance music did I listen to this year?
This clearly was. You're not talking about Jessie J this year, like you were a few, or no?
Who'd you talk about? Jessie Ware.
Jessie Ware, right? You were listening to Jessie Ware. You're not talking about Jessie Ware like you were a few years ago, right?
This is true. This is true. But I was open to it if it had come out and it had been, I mean, I'm going to talk about a song in a second that I think is a dance song.
That's true.
And I think that is way better than every song on the Tame Impala album.
So I wasn't aware of this meme about Tame Impala where apparently it's an indie music guy thing to say like, oh, Tame Impala's just Kevin, right? And he has like a rotating cast of band, like he records all the instruments himself, and so really Tame Impala is just a him, and it's like. And it's like, no, it's not actually. It's a band, He's still. Tame Impala is still a band. It's
a band when he tours.
Yeah, but I will say that I think, to your point, this does feel like the most like a Kevin Parker solo album to me of all the Tame Impala albums so far.
Okay, yeah.
To its credit or not, who knows? But I do. I see the point about lack of resolution, but I also think that like there's something. I like Kevin Parker as a musical personage. Like he's a musical character that I'm like still interested in, and I think that's part of when I fell in love with his music. Right, like that was very much when I was in my early 20s, and I was really.
You're a Currents guy, right?
I'm a Currents guy. Yeah, that's my Tame Impala.
Slow Rush guy. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so that's where we differ on this. But I think he's really. Doing everything he did with Dua Lipa and kind of like how he leaned into that relationship. Like I really think he's got good taste.
His song, was it Never Ender with Justice is great.
Yeah.
That's a song I listened to a lot this year, even though I think it technically came out last year. But he can, that's the thing. He can make dance music.
Yeah.
Why did he not do it on this album?
Well, I think it's a kind of dance album. That's what I think.
What do you mean kind of dance album?
It's a kind of dance album.
Like a variety of dance album, or like it's kind of dancey? Like
it's a type of dance album. Like it's the type of electronic lead. It's like leading with electronica, that it's leading with synth, right? That is, we've seen him do in certain amounts, and then the guitar gets relegated even further back on this one.
Okay.
And like, so there's something about the kind of electronic, and maybe it's that I've been listening to so much ambient music this year, and I'm like, my head is tuned into it. And so I really think that there is something. This is a kind of Kevin Parker dance album.
Well,
and when you look at it specifically on those terms, I think it's pretty satisfying.
And didn't he reference like something about some sort of like Australian rave thing?
Yes.
What was it called? Bush do?
I didn't know it.
I don't know what it was. He mentions that he was like riffing on some particular style. So maybe that's the thing. I don't know the style. Whatever. I found it unsatisfying. That's all.
Okay, cool. All right, let's transition on, and I'll talk.
What's
I'll
your
talk
second thing?
Yeah. So this is kind of related, honestly, because it's all related. It's all connected, baby. But the other album I want to talk about just came out like a month ago or so, and it's
recent.
Lux by Rosalia. Was a big fan of Motomami a few years ago. I feel like it's well documented how much I'm enjoying kind of like Spanish language music the last few years. Ever since I kind of went down the Bad Bunny path, and then Marcy talked with us about J Balvin this year, which I'm really I have said this to a few people, but I want to learn Spanish more meaningfully because I mostly want to understand what they're saying in reggaeton and like in like all these like big global dance pop hits. Like they're huge. This music is huge, and I love the scale of it. I'm so drawn to the grandness of this kind of music, and I'm talking about right now just kind of like the Spanish language music that exists out there in general, right? Like let me be reductive and group those things for a second. But Rosalia is a particular kind of thing because she's very contradictory, and she's somewhat problematic in some ways, right? And she also is doing things that I never expect. And I couldn't tell you what a Rosalia album is gonna sound like. And I've listened to them all at this point.
Yeah.
But no two albums. There's obviously connective tissue. She's the same person, and she's still from the same place, and she's drawing on so many things. But there were 13 languages that she spoke in Lux.
Yeah.
This album is insane. Like it's almost like totemic in its like attitude and its way of looking at the world around it, where it's like there's a grandness to the experience of being here. And part of the whole media drive about this has been like the lack of digital instrumentation in it, and talking about how she's like, this is a human album, which could that have been drummed up by Don Draper in a like a Madison Avenue boardroom? Yeah, but everything's marketing these days, right? Like that's almost like the pithiness of it feels authentic coming from her. And as somebody who in my day-to-day work, doing software, like I use AI a fair amount, and like I'm trying to figure out what I think about my relationship with this technology, right? And so when I see Rosalia making an album like this that is fucking huge and is daring and shows this kind of like attention to detail that I think is so impressive and so self-assured that you're just so drawn to it, so turned on by it, that it makes you realize that those questions are really worth interfacing with, I think.
Yeah, it was surprising to me that you chose this album, if only because it was so recent. And I mean, I only had a chance to listen to it twice, and I did a bit of reading on it. And I mean, again, because I don't know Spanish, again, which may not have helped so much because there's 13 languages on the album.
Yeah, well, it helped a little bit. Yeah,
like it felt like not enough time, because I mean, this album feels to me a little bit. It is not an easy listen.
No,
I mean, sonically, yes, it is like orchestral and beautiful,
and her voice is
her voice
incredible.
Right. I mean, and it does have this sort of beauty, with like one exception midway through when Bjork and Eve Toomer pop up.
Yeah.
It gets a little aggressive there.
Right.
But I mean, of course, that's the song that spoke to me.
The exception that proves the rule, right?
Yeah. And so it was just hard because I'd have to translate things, and like musically, it also doesn't sound like it's doing as much that's different within the album.
Say more about that. What do you mean?
Meaning, maybe because it's so orchestral, and because her voice tends to sit in the same register throughout most of the album. Like it's very up here, like a few notable exceptions, which feel like they are strategic. that like because I don't know what she's saying.
Right.
Like I think the satisfaction of this album came from doing the research, because then when I discovered like, oh, she had like a huge breakup, and apparently there's a few lyrics on this album that are just vicious.
Yeah.
That when you
Lily
listen to
Allen-esque.
this, yeah, that when you
like,
listen to the album, you're like, and again, since I don't speak Spanish, I mean, I imagine the song. I didn't have time to look this up, but I imagine the song that comes after the Bjork Eve Toomer collaboration, which ends very aggressively, and then the next song is like super sweet. I wondered is that the song where she gets really vicious, because that would feel like a very Rosalia move to get really like sort of soft with the music, but actually be saying like, oh my god, I fucking hate you, and I hope that like you die a horrible death, and that like your eyes bleed, and like I mean that vicious.
let me ask you a question. I don't know if I've ever posed this to you in all our years of friendship. So why would I have had cause to until now? But you're listening to jazz, or you're listening to classical music.
Okay.
Or you're listening to a singer singing in a language that you don't speak. Mm-hmm. Are you when that music goes into your head, are you building a linguistic narrative from that music? Like, are you let's start with jazz and classical. Are you creating a story for yourself, even if you don't know what the story is? That's supposedly maybe like the music is inspired by.
Not jazz, because I think jazz wanders too much for me to find like something linear. Mm-hmm. Not foreign language, because I always feel like I'm missing out on what the narrative is. So like I'll listen to
because there's something specific that you're
Yeah, I feel like there's something in the way. Classical, though, I do, but that's also because I mean I grew up, learning classical pianos and going to hear the orchestra, and so like I could pick apart, like I could probably tell you if something is Mozart or Beethoven simply by listening to it.
That's
so
impressive.
like I have Beethoven was way more experimental, and Mozart was super classical. And anyway, whatever. Sorry, like I'm just remembering all the specifics.
Coming next year, our production of Amadeus.
Oh no, that plays too long.
Everybody's doing it right now too. It's crazy. I don't know what's
for
going
everybody.
On. Is it like the anniversary of it coming out or something?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I should. I've just
Steppenwolf's doing it.
I
don't know.
In any case,
We digress.
Classical, yes, I think I do sort of create worlds and narratives. Why is that? Like, is that something that you do no matter what?
I don't know. It's interesting because I found myself listening to this album, and I was also it was kind of like a little mental trick I was trying to play on myself, and I was listening to Bad Bunny and all that, where I was like, tonally, what is he saying right now? Like, even if I don't speak the language yet, and I think. Let me sidebar into Bad Bunny for a second. Like, I think there was a really cool thing. I had a moment where I thought, oh, this is the power of pop music in any language, is that I can point out, like, I can pull some of the very specific Spanish words out from Bad Bunny's album. And then same with Rosalia, honestly. Like, I was able to pull out some of those specific words, and I was like, this is how people learn languages from music and TV, right? Like I could see, I could feel the process happening, which was very satisfying in its own way. But taking it back to Rosalia, I think I was trying to like build a narrative in my head that was just like based on what's this tone, what's this, like what's the setting of this voice right now? And I thought that was so rich because there was all these different dynamics between, just like you were saying, all these different dynamics between the vocal parts and the orchestral parts. And Bjork showing up. I mean, come on, that was like, why is Bjork singing in English as well? Like, did she sing in Icelandic at some point? I feel like there's all these very, very specific choices that are happening where I'm like, what's great about it is that I can start to string a narrative together, even though I don't speak Spanish or any of those 12 other languages. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
What's next? What do we got next?
Well, so I'm done talking about albums because this was not a big year for albums for me.
That's right.
But
yes.
I did want to, I guess the category is, for my next thing, would be Song That Gave Me Life in 2025. And a quick honorable mention. We did already mention Trent Reznor once on this episode. As Alive as You Need Me to Be from the Tron Ares soundtrack.
Ares, God
which
of
I
War.
heard was a terrible movie from what
Haven't
I heard.
seen it.
But the soundtrack, Nine Inch Nails did the soundtrack, which sort of feels like Hat on a Hat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, because wasn't it? I think it was Wendy Carlos did the first Tron soundtrack.
She did.
and then Daft Punk did the second Tron soundtrack, and of course, yes, Nine Inch Nails.
It's the logical
next.
progression. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It makes sense, and
Yeah.
that song is a banger. Like that single.
That song
is very good.
specifically, the whole album, I think, is hit or miss.
Yeah, it's very. It's not. I mean, as a soundtrack, it's not Social Network.
Or Challengers. I thought Challengers was
Right.
super solid
Yeah.
and fit the piece so well.
Yeah, but that's not the song that gave me life in 2025. The song that gave me life in 2025 was actually a song that came out in 2024 because it was on Kate Renata's Timeless album. That's the name of the album. The album itself is not timeless. A single featuring Pink Pantheress called "Snap My Finger," which, crazy enough, is sort of connected a little bit. Like the story behind it is connected a little bit to my feeling about the Doves album, just because I sort of alluded to the idea that, I've been feeling a little old, and, I teach, or I have taught for a summer program of high school students where we're doing acting and everything. I'm sorry.
This is known lore. This is known. This one goes to 11
colloquially
lore.
known as the Cherubs program. And like this past summer, I had a weird summer there. Like I had a summer feeling, frankly, kind of out of place. Like I was too old for the students, but also too old for the faculty, in a way.
And that was a shift. That was a shift. For
Yeah,
sure.
like it felt like a team I wasn't. I didn't. Sorry if some of the Cherubs faculty are listening to this episode or watching this episode, but I just didn't feel like part of the team this past summer. And
I think all of our cherubs. I think of all of our cherubs related people who have been on the pod and might be listening probably know that. Right?
Especially, well, maybe not, but like also people who have done it multiple summers know that every summer is different when you go there.
Yeah.
Like I had one very terrible summer there, and this was not terrible. It's just I felt out of place, and like I even felt out of place like musically, like in terms of like the stuff I would play for, in my classes. But there was one song that I didn't discover until this year that like just felt like it made me feel like energized and like still a little young in some ways, and that was this. And like I'm forever grateful to Nube for introducing me to Kate Renata.
I know, man. Me
because
too.
it feels like my kind of dance music. It's like I don't know what the like digital instrumentation is that he's using, but I do know he also he likes to live in like these very sort of sharp keys. So it always has this sort of like menacing funk quality to it.
Yeah.
And this
well
song,
said. Yeah.
I mean, this song especially, like it just sounds.
It bangs.
It has like it sort of hovers between major and minor, and there's also, because I'm old, there is also they're riffing on a very specific song in one of the verses,
Which
is they're stealing. It's a song called "Everything She Wants" by Wham. There's a lyric in that song that goes like, I mean, people know that song because the chorus goes like do 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 do.
Okay. Yes.
It's that
yes.
song.
I know
But
exactly which one you're
in the
talking about.
verse, at one point, I wrote down the lyric. George Michael sings, I can't go as high as he can go, but I'll tell you that I'm happy if you want me to. And that exact melody, and even the words "want me to" at the end, are referenced within the song. And so, like, there's like these little Easter eggs built in there, which again, I don't know. It just felt like the right sort of pop dance alternative to the like this, to Sabrina Carpenter for this year, who like she's fine, I love her, great,
Yeah,
but
she's
like
great.
wasn't my thing this year, and this just
The new
I don't know,
album, you
this-
mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like, also I'm just sort of like I'm she's not doing anything different, so I'm kind of like, great, you do this, you do your thing. It wasn't hitting me this year, but this song, which again came out in 2024, like I don't know, this was a song that like energized me and made me feel like, no, maybe you're not so old, Michael. Like
Yeah.
that sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think of this song?
It bangs. And also Pink Pantheress. Pink Pantheress is having a moment too.
Yes.
Number one on our boy Evan Saudi's best albums of 2025 list with good. I mean, for good reason. It's really really solid, and I think there's that menacing funk thing that you articulated makes so much sense. I think that's a really good way of characterizing this. And Pink Pantheress has that kind of menace to her as well. I think there's something. There's also like the house quality to it, like good deep house kind of music. Like that's the kind of dance music that I see you connecting to the most. And when something has a quality of that or has a dash of that, I can pretty much tell that that'll be something that hits you in the right place. It made sense to me why this one gave you life. I mean, did you feel like there was anything else? Like when were you listening to this song this year?
Oh, lots of times. I mean, I would listen to it like when I was walking to the dining hall or like to campus over the summer when I was like, by myself and feeling kind of like, why am I even here? Sure. not on the world or on the planet, just at the program.
In Evanston, yeah.
Yeah. Like that. But then also like, I don't know, I've been listening to it occasionally, like on the commute when I'm driving or when I'm taking the shuttle to my job, or like, when I like it's a good gym song. There's another good song on the Timeless album. I want to say it's called Hold On, I think, where he collaborates with Dawn Leonard. Did I get that name right?
Don Richard, you mean?
Don Richard, Don Richard.
Don Richard, I believe that's
that's a good collaboration too. I mean, he's good
great. Oh my god. Yeah.
So there was, I mean, I guess I've been like all sorts of, pretty much when I wanted to feel like, when I wanted a sort of confidence.
Wanted to feel yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
You deserve that, buddy. Can I say that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take that.
I think it was a year in which I felt a little more grounded than you did, and for a multitude of reasons. And what I appreciate about you and I is that our orbits always intersect. That is something about our friendship that I feel like I've been able to hang my hat on that like no matter how different our emotional states may be at a given time or our circumstances, our orbits always intersect. So just calling that out.
But not in a dangerous way, like in the movie Melancholia, where they discover another planet that like. Did you see that movie?
Yeah, I did. I saw that at the Rest in Peace Tivoli Theater here in St. Louis, and that is a brutal film.
It's a brutal movie.
Kirsten Dunst is so talented, though.
Yeah, she should be doing more stuff.
Love or hate Lars von Trier. Kirsten Dunst was the perfect actor to be in that movie. Like that was
he's Dogville. That's Lars von Trier, right? Did you ever finally see that?
So no. I shy away from his films.
3.5 hours long.
I shy away from his films. I don't have the stomach for it right now.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Or I'm not like in that place. So this is let's bring this back around, right? Like this is the thing about challenging music versus not challenging music in some ways too. And like it plays all sorts of different ways. Rosalia, I feel like was a challenging album in a very specific way.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe this comparison is somewhat apt to say like it's challenging in the way that a Lars von Trier album is challenging. I think.
Is it though, or is it because I find
it's not grotesque in the way
that's
that Lars
the thing.
von Trier.
I feel like the Rosalia album is benevolently challenging, whereas actually Lars von Trier wants to attack you and your soul.
And here's the thing about Kaytranada, right? Taking this back to this song is like Kaytranada. I feel like has just a percentage of challenge to the kind of dance music that Kaytranada makes.
I hate using the word edgy, but there's an edge.
There's edge
always,
to it.
It's a sharp edge to everything he makes.
Yes.
But like in a good way.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
We are pontificating a lot. I don't know how long we wanted this episode to be, but I guess we're just rocking.
We'll see when I do the edit, but you probably should get to your third thing.
Okay, I'm going to get to my third thing now. So my third thing is I want to pour one out. And not because somebody died, though plenty of people did die. And I will say before I do the figurative pour out, I will do a literal pour out for somebody we lost this year from the music scene in America and in the greater world that hit me, and it was D'Angelo. D'Angelo passed.
I thought of you immediately which is strange but not strange. Like,
I'm honored.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I do.
Yeah,
I do know. I mean, this is validating to hear you say that, because I love D'Angelo's music. Like, I really, really have a deep love for D'Angelo's music. And I talked about D'Angelo on our Valentine's Day episode a few years ago for Love Songs, that Untitled is just it is a love song of sorts, right? It's not Harvest Moon, but it is a love song of sorts.
It's not. I'm sorry. You're just saying it's not Harvest Moon is like hilarious, so accurate, but also like hilarious.
Clipping that. So there's something about D'Angelo that was so exceptional and so otherworldly, like on a Prince level to me. Not nearly as prolific as Prince was, but D'Angelo had just the same amount of genius that Prince did, in my opinion. And I also have to thank Nube for the introduction to D'Angelo. That was a Nube special, as they should call them, and truly transformative music, transformative art, any way you slice it, and that is a personality that will be greatly missed. So, but the one figurative thing that I want to pour one out for, and here's my beer, a little bit of pour, is that. There was a lot of talk this year politically about the defunding of public radio, which if you know me, I love public radio. It's something. It's a part of my everyday. I really swear by it. It's a comfort to me. It's a part of my identity. To be honest with you, I really appreciate that as a public service. Whether you agree or disagree with the politics of NPR or any of the kind of constituent elements of it, I think the importance of having community radio is huge, and it is such an important public service that if shit breaks down, if everything goes to hell, we'll still have radio waves that we can use. Who's going to control those? That's another question. But it's a resource that is invaluable. And you also might know, in the same way that Stereo Gum has introduced me to a ton of music, public radio has formed my musical taste over the course of my life. And specifically, over my several years living in Los Angeles, the public radio station KCRW was a huge source of music and new music, fresh music that was given to me on for free. I did contribute, but for free on the radio. Huge. How important is that? You also might know KCRW if you're a Lynch head, because he did his weather reports on Morning Becomes Eclectic before he passed. And so it's like this is it's a hugely important cultural thing that has suffered in insane cuts during the Trump administration. And I just think that it's a real shame, and it will bounce back. It's a force of nature, right? But radio is almost like a natural force. So it'll come back eventually. I believe that. But because of those kind of cuts, and just organizational restructuring at KCRW, several of my favorite DJs lost jobs. And specifically, I want to pour one out for Travis Holcombe. He was let go from doing his show on KCRW, Freaks Only, which was an evening show several times a week on KCRW in Los Angeles. And if you listen to it, it's just some of the finest DJing I've ever heard on the airwaves, on the actual literal airwaves. It was diverse. It was always exciting. It was always unexpected. He had such impeccable taste and such a calm demeanor on the radio. I'll provide a link to his announcement saying goodbye after Freaks Only had been brought to a close at KCRW. But I just want to thank Travis for the musical education that he gave me and the musical resource that he was to me during my years in LA. I will follow him. Whatever he does. I'm going to make sure I keep tabs on him, because he's a great musical mind, and you all should know about Travis Holcombe for sure. Yes. Did you get a chance to look at any of his stuff about Freaks Only or anything like that?
I never got to, because also just while it is possible to listen to public radio from other places, thanks to the interwebs, it's sort of
it's not the same.
No, it's not the same. Even I remember when I was living in Canton, I would occasionally listen to NCPR, North Country Public Radio.
With our friends Ethan Shanty and Sarah Scafidi McGuire.
Exactly. And also former guest Sahar Milani was a guest on some show they did this year.
Cool.
She'd also talked about heavy metal. But
love Sahar.
Yeah. So I would listen to, I feel like public radio is the sort of thing you want to listen to the public radio station of the place that you're in.
Naturally, yeah.
Like, it just feels like
what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't, but I mean, I definitely will have to check out I guess whatever. I mean, is he going to stay in LA or?
I imagine so. I think he's an LA guy, but who knows? Maybe he ended up in New York. I think they're kind of he could do anything he wants. He's that brilliant, I think. But there is for as long as we stay on Spotify, right? There is a Freaks Only mega playlist, which is every song he ever played on Freaks Only.
Oh dear God! How long is that?
Days, probably weeks long. Yeah. I'll link to that. Michael's editing this one, so I'll make sure he has the link to.
I got a note
to put that in the bio.
Tyler for links. Yeah.
I'll get them to you ASAP.
All right.
But he's great, and I will miss him. I will miss him being on the radio. So keep an eye out for him, people. He's worth it. All right.
Speaking of people
next?
we miss, I'll talk about my third and final thing for the episode, which my category that I've given myself is music-related pop culture thing that made me feel human. So, and that is the only movie that I saw in theaters in 2025 because I don't go to see movies in theaters. I don't know why. I have a theory, but that's for a different podcast.
Fair enough.
The only movie I saw, which was while we were sort of transitioning and getting ready to come back to Philadelphia, was the documentary It's Never Over, Jeff Buckley, which is the long-awaited, it had been put off for a long time because Jeff Buckley's mother was sort of refused for a long time until finally, I guess the filmmaker convinced her to go forward with it.
I got to see this.
Someday, we will talk about the only album he released while he was alive, Grace.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say too much about that because I know we'll do an episode about it at some point.
And it's important to me too. It's a great album.
It's very important. I have a deep emotional connection to it, and
me too.
It's so I don't want to, but I mean, let's just say his album and his voice have always made me feel things, and I don't mean that sexually at all. Like it just like in a soulful way, like. I feel like his voice channels emotions that don't have words to describe them.
Well said. Completely agree.
And seeing the documentary, I mean, first of all, like on a purely like informational or educational level, there are a lot of things I didn't know as well about him. Like, first of all, the fact that his style of music is so hard to place because he never really set out to be a rock musician.
No.
I mean, his father was, a famous musician who he hated because, well, it's complicated.
Watch the documentary.
Yeah, exactly. Watch the documentary. But he, his style, he really wanted to emulate, like Nina Simone and
that tracks.
Judy Garland.
Also tracks.
And Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan were like all the artists that influenced him way more. So like the fact that
was the Pakistani artist, right? Didn't I send you the thing just recently about that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he gets sort of lumped in with a lot of 90s grunge artists, and some of his songs do have a grungy sound.
Yeah.
But that doesn't capture it. And if you listen to Grace, it's not all one thing. I mean, he's got the cover of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah that he's probably best known for. Yeah. But like it dramatically changes. And there's a bunch of covers on that album. But
Leonard Cohen is probably a good analog though, honestly, right?
Yeah.
From a different era.
So it was educational in that respect, and there were a lot of things I didn't know about his life and his connection. Like he tried to date Amy Mann at one point, which
do I blame him?
No. Yeah, totally scans, and she was sort of like, no, because I mean, the thing that we learned from the documentary, I don't think I'm giving away too much, is the fact that like he, I can't remember now whether he was officially diagnosed as this, but like he was bipolar. And so there's a lot of misconceptions about his death because I think a lot of people thought that he took his own life on purpose, that it was a suicide. It was never ruled a suicide. He did drown. But when you watch the documentary and you follow his sort of emotional ups and downs, you realize like, oh, he totally had a manic episode. He was actually feeling pretty good about things at that moment and was like, hey, I'm going to jump into this body of water with all my clothes on and swim, not realizing that like there was like a boat nearby that like just, took him under. And so it was, there was that from an educational level, I guess, but also just to like
context,
to like immerse. I mean, because it's just full of his music. Like, it's full of his music.
Awesome.
Even songs that I wasn't really familiar with because they were from the album that came out afterwards, Sketches from My Sweetheart the Drunk, which was just sort of like songs that he hadn't quite finished yet. One of which I was listening to called Vancouver that been listening to a lot since I saw the documentary. It just, I don't know, it just felt good to like, I felt kind of the same way I felt when I saw the Pearl Jam 20 documentary, which I remember I actually saw that with my friend Chris Vire, who passed away last year, who I wish had been a guest on the podcast, but anyway. In any case, the documentary, I mean, I felt a lot of things while watching it, and in a good way. I mean, I've already sort of warned former guest and our mutual friend Casey Morris, who also has a deep attachment to Jeff Buckley. I warned him. I said, like, oh my God, have you seen the new Jeff Buckley documentary? And he's like, I've been putting it off because I think I might be a wreck. And I was like, oh, yeah, you will. You're going to be a wreck when you watch this. But I don't know. I know we started this podcast by talking about artists that we wanted to just focus on the music and not so much the artist. But like this actually felt like a good marrying or melting or melding, I don't know which word, of the two in a way that like enhanced my appreciation for his music. You didn't get a chance to see it yet?
Not yet. No, I think I think it might be streaming somewhere. So
it probably is by now.
I'll prioritize it. I'll prioritize it.
Don't say too much about the album yet. But
I won't. Yeah. I hold Jeff Buckley in such high regard as an artist. Like I really respect the albums that he left us with, the music that he left us with, basically. And
you won't lose any of that regard from the documentary,
which is that's an amazing thing, right?
It will enhance it.
Yeah. He really bears inspection. He really bears witnessing, which you can't say that about many people. You know, like he's just really just is in total he was such a beautiful human. He was a beautiful person to have existed. I really think he was a special guy.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't paint him as like perfect.
That's good. Nor am I saying he's perfect.
The way
tragically beautiful.
Yeah, some of his relationships with women, he just sort of like nothing like terrible. He just sort of he was kind of flighty.
Right.
Avoidant. Some of the like voicemails
that's what they would say now.
Yeah, some of the voicemails he left his mother too were kind of like he was an artist, capital A artist, and the documentary does get a little artsy at times. Like you can sort of feel the filmmaker playing with visual imagery and whatnot, but like, and it's fine.
It works
because ultimately, like the content is so meaningful.
Yeah,
but
I need to see it. It seems like it's really a welcome. A welcome entry into the music documentary canon.
Yeah.
All right, should we do some honorable mentions? Just kind of other things that we can talk on, like kind of rapid fire.
Well, you can do your honorable mentions because I strategically included them
throughout my presentation.
What else did you want? What else did you want to add for your honorable mentions?
just a little honorable mention for Japanese Breakfast. That was a great album. I don't know if you listened to that one much at all.
I got a chance to listen to it once, and my thing I jotted down was 2020's Amy Mann.
Yes, 100%. And I think I really respect Michelle Zauner's work, especially even more since I read her book, Crying in H Mart. That was like you should read that book. It's a very, very good book, and it makes me understand her music on a whole other level. So, big shout out to that. And I guess I'm looking at my shout outs down here, and I had Bad Bunny, which I already did, D'Angelo, which I already did, and then I just did Japanese Breakfast, and I have two more. So I didn't do too bad. I did an okay job weaving mine in too. Jenny Hval. She's a Scandinavian artist who has a really great album that I think is really worth listening to, and also canceled her tour in the States because of the ICE activity in yeah, and more just out of solidarity is what I understand. Then she's a white woman from Scandinavia, so she's not so concerned, but kind of visa stuff, and I think visa stuff was probably difficult. So just wanted to kind of call out that as like that's a real thing. Bad Bunny did the same thing. He's obviously playing at the Super Bowl in a couple months, which is a whole fucking thing. But
let's not even go into that.
I know it's a whole fucking thing. But like he's very conscious of the fact that the people at his concerts can largely be targeted by ICE. So like this is no fucking joke. I know we're gonna put the explicit tag on this one. It's no joke, and I think something that we're only gonna see more of this affecting the music industry as well. It should, like people got to talk about it. And then there's one other thing I want to talk about, which was that the best show that I saw this year, the best concert that I saw this year, I just saw it. It was our boy Wesley Toledo and Post Animal. It was so good. They got done touring with Joe Keery on his kind of big, like, momentous world tour, and it was a whole thing, dude. Like, I went to this great venue here in St. Louis with my sister. I got her out. Like, she got a babysitter, and she came out and saw the concert. My friend Tim was with us, and his daughter Lily, who is 13 years old. It was her first rock show ever.
Oh, wow.
And it was a very special. She did the whole 6-7 thing to me, which I still don't know what it means.
It's past.
Okay, it's over now?
Yeah.
Great.
I think, well, it's another podcast.
Anyway, so it was an incredible show. And it was just so good to see them like doing, like they've just gotten better and better every time I've seen them. And their new album Iron is really good. Like, I really think it's worth listening to. They're doing really cool stuff, and their live show is electrifying. You just have to they are rock stars. Like, these are teenage girls that are waiting outside of the stage door with t-shirts in rhinestone, like Wesley's name in rhinestones on a t-shirt, Michael. I saw that. I lived with that man.
That's crazy.
Like, it was such a bizarre experience to see this, but he totally deserves it because, like, Wes is just one of the most incredible drummers I've ever seen.
He's real good. When I
saw them,
when I saw them in Philly, I was like, and even like as I listened to the album just before we recorded, and I was like, the drumming is so tight. Like, he is a good drummer.
Yeah, he is a good drummer, and I'd say it to his face. Like, I'm not just saying this. Come on, Wesley, you're a good boy. But it was so fun to see him and see those guys, and they're all lovely. Like I had seen them at different points over the course of their career arc, and the ones that I had met remembered me, and it was just so nice.
I was gonna say, some of them went to DePaul, didn't they?
No, Wes and Joe. Maybe DePaul, but not theater school.
One other one. No, not theater school, but one went to like just DePaul regular.
I said to Jake, the guy who plays guitar and keys, I said to him, I knew him from Uncle Sammy's because he used to work at Uncle Sammy's.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day, right. And I said that to him when I saw him, and that was a funny flashback. Terrible sandwiches. Great. Jake's a great guy. Terrible sandwiches.
Well, good for like fried grossness.
Yes.
But like, if you're trying to get like, ooh, I want a really good sandwich, no,
not the place to go.
No.
But it is iconic for DePaul TTS students of that era.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to say how fun it was. It was such a good show. It was like a whole rock and roll experience. They gave Lily the best time for her first rock show. I can't speak highly enough. You go see them if you get the chance, because they're just in total a great rock and roll experience. Period. Hard
with
stop.
With a T at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Hard stop. That's all my stuff. Yeah.
So I got one little. It's not totally a surprise for you, but one last thing before we close this out. So all season long, and even the previous season, you've been trying to come up with ideas for other podcasts that we should host.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I made a reference in an episode this season about how we have to come up with names for a production company. So I've come up with a few.
Okay, great.
That I think
I love it.
That I think and some of them are better than others.
Okay.
But I'll give them to you, and you can, and some of them are inside jokes.
Okay,
so
great.
Sorry, listeners, but some of you might get them anyway. So first I thought, like, maybe I should just take our initials.
Okay.
And if I did like TEMO, I was like, oh, Timo. But then I'm like, no, that's way too similar to a company that no one should be buying anything from.
And we're not going to give them the free publicity.
Yeah. They don't need free publicity. All right.
Yeah.
Then I thought, okay, what if I just move the letters around a little bit? And I was like, METO. I'm like, oh, me too. And I'm like, no, that will not work either. So then I thought about, our long history of making things related to Scientology.
Yes.
And so I thought, what if it were like Miscavige and Company Productions? Or just Miscavige and Company, not Productions at the end. But then what if it were also like Shell, like seashell, hyphen E Productions, Shelley Productions?
Where is she?
Or where is she?
Where is she?
Shelley Miscavige?
Ashlyn will tell you. Ashlyn knows.
Or N hyphen Graham Productions, I thought. Okay.
Engram? Anybody know what an Enneagram is?
Yeah, I think no, not any. No. Enneagram and Engram are different.
Okay.
They are very different.
Okay.
Don't mix those up.
I believe you.
Don't you mix those up.
Okay.
They are different.
Yes, they are.
Enneagrams are numbers. Engrams are not real things.
That's true. That's true.
I said it. I said it.
You did.
I said it.
You did.
I won't apologize. Okay, then I thought of a few that were just sort of like referencing things like, what if we were like Writ Large Productions?
I kind of like that, yeah.
Or Body of Work Productions.
Yeah. That one might be taken, I bet.
Or That's Right Productions, as in, the thing
I think
that we
that's right.
Yeah. And then my final one that I came up with, which I thought like might be overall the best. I mean, Writ Large does work pretty well.
Writ Large is good, yeah.
But I also thought overall, I was like, what if I took two of our favorite albums and put them together and we were OK Rainbows Productions?
I kind of like that.
Or maybe not Productions, just OK Rainbows. Like, just go by that.
I kind of like that a lot.
I don't know. So
I
would like to state, though, this is not me signing off on us creating more podcasts. This is me saying, if it becomes a thing, we have to have a name. So
yeah, of course.
Some ideas, just sort of float
an umbrella.
Some ideas at you.
We need to have an umbrella. Yeah. No, I think our heads are going in the same place. This is we're on the same page. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay. That's good. This is I wanted to also be known that I basically would make any kind of podcast with you, Michael. I would talk about anything on the radio with you, is what I would do. I would go on public access television with you and do some weird fucking theater.
That would be the best venue for the two of us. I think
we got to work on that. I'm just going to put that on.
Public access television.
We get a couple of our more eccentric collaborators to come in and do something weird.
Oh yeah,
a little bit of a callback to the Eric Andre show. I was very, very inspired by the Eric Andre show. I would do any of this kind of stuff with you, and so maybe I'll take this moment to get a little sappy, as I'm known to do, as I want to do. But it's really fun doing this thing, and 9 seasons later, I don't want to stop. So who knows who's listening to this? But we know we have a few people who really have been dedicated listeners, and I want to thank all of you out there for the friendships that we've made through this, for the people that we never would have met if we would have done this thing, who add great value and great emotional value to my life. And I'll speak for Michael as well and say, these are valuable friendships for us. It's really fun, man, don't you think? Yeah,
most definitely. Yeah, I definitely value the sort of community that we've created.
Yeah.
This One Goes to 11 picnic is going to be awesome.
It's be fucking amazing. Really good food at that picnic.
Really good food. And we'll have to figure out what band is going to play. That's going to be the hard thing to figure out.
Exactly.
Maybe Post Animal. Maybe we'll get Post Animal.
They should. I think that they'd be the perfect kind of band to play at our picnic.
We should get some other band members on as
we
guests.
Should. I think Jake. I'll call it out. Yeah, let's get Jake Hirschland on here. He'd be fun to talk to. Yeah.
We do have a season coming up. We are going to keep on doing this. We have a season 10, which we don't want to say too much about it, but just want to say that it has a theme, and you're going to hear some familiar voices.
Yes, those are great Easter eggs,
and I mean that in multiple ways. So.
Yes.
And that's all I will say about that.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
That's all you need to say.
Well, Tyler, thank you for doing this. We so rarely get to do this in the same room.
Yeah.
In the same time zone, which we did this summer, which was great.
We got to keep making that a priority, is what it is. Is that we just it's a fun thing to plan around, and I think that we could be like, I will tease that maybe we would go and record in a city that maybe we've never recorded in person before. Who knows?
Possibly, if we
Question
can
mark?
find a facility as good as the Chicago Podcast Studio in
Just
another
saying.
city, perhaps. I
Yeah,
don't know.
just saying. That might
Anyway.
be something on my wish list. So, yeah, I'm glad you feel the same, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got one more bonus episode for you that we'll do,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a short form thing, and we won't say more about that yet, but you'll see another one of those in the coming weeks. And stick with us until season 10, and you'll have nothing but riches ahead of you people.
And if you do enjoy some of those riches, please share them with us, because we are not above asking for money.
Money, please.
Money,
As they say.
please.
You got anything else, buddy?
No, I think the only thing left for us to do is simply say
Bye.